Namaskar, a warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is VC Pramod and with me is Aditi Lumba, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines: India bans single-use plastic items from the 1st of July. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is making necessary policy changes to encourage MSME sector in India. India's 8 core industries post robust growth of 18.1% in May this year. Isro successfully launches PSLV C-53 rocket carrying 3 Singaporean satellites from Satish Dhawan Space Centre at Sriharikota. Monsoon session of Indian Parliament to begin from the 18th of July. President Vladimir Putin says Russia will respond if NATO sets up troops and infrastructure in Finland and Sweden. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sworn in as next president of the Philippines. All India Radio Srinagar begins Amarnathyatra special broadcast from Baltal Base Camp. In badminton, PV Sindhu and HS Pranoy storm into quarterfinals of the Malaysian Open at Kuala Lumpur. And in cricket, India to take on England in the rescheduled 5th Test match at Edgbaston in Birmingham on Friday. India has banned manufacture, import, stocking, distribution, sale and use of identified single-use plastic items which have low utility and high littering potential all across the country from the 1st of July 2022. Single-use plastic are those items that are used only once and discarded. The adverse impacts of littered single-use plastic items, plastic on both terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems, including in marine environment, are globally recognized. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change on the 20th of June had notified that the government will ban identified single-use plastic items across the country from the 1st of July. The ministry organized a meeting with state government officials and municipal commissioners from 82 non-attainment cities for elimination of identified single-use plastic items. During the meeting, the municipal commissioners were informed about the ban on identified single-use plastic items that will come into effect from Friday. It was informed that the notification was published on the 12th of August last year. The municipal commissioners were requested to lead their teams with regard to efforts for enforcement within their jurisdiction. They were requested to help all stakeholders, including traders, distributors, retailers as well as consumers, to switch over to alternatives of the banned SUP items. It was highlighted that the success of the ban will be possible with effective engagement and concerted actions by all the stakeholders. The municipal commissioners assured effective enforcement and taking up of constructive engagement with the stakeholders to ensure the effective implementation of the ban and switch over to alternatives to the banned SUP items. The list of banned items include earbuds with plastic sticks for balloons, plastic flags, candy sticks, ice cream sticks, polystyrene, thermocol for decoration, plastic plates, plastic cups, plastic glasses and plastic cutlery.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the government is making necessary policy changes to encourage MSME sector in the country. He added that the centre has increased the budget by more than 650% in the last 8 years to strengthen the sector. Addressing the Udyami Bharat program in New Delhi on Thursday, Mr. Modi said the micro, small and medium enterprises MSME sector accounts for almost 1/3 of India's economy and it has a very important role in India's growth journey. He said the government has resolved to take local products across the globe and several initiatives have been introduced to strengthen the country's Make in India supply chain.
उद्यमेन ही सिद्ध्यन्ति कार्याणि ना मनोरथ है, यानी उद्यम करने से ही सिद्धि मिलती है, सिर्फ सोचते रहने से कुछ नहीं होता। इस श्लोक के भाव को अगर मैं आज के समय के हिसाब से थोड़ा बदल करके कहूं तो मैं ये कहूंगा कि एमएसएमई के उद्यम से ही आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान को सिद्धि मिलेगी, भारत सशक्त होगा।
Mr. Modi added, for the government, MSME means maximum support to micro, small and medium enterprises and said a self-reliant fund of 50,000 crore rupees has been released for the sector. The Prime Minister also asked MSMEs to register on the GM portal for supplying goods to the government. Mr. Modi said the government has decided that for orders up to 200 crore rupees, no global tender will be undertaken, and this is in some ways a reservation for the MSMEs. He said under the Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, the central government has ensured 3.5 lakh crore rupees for the MSMEs. Talking about Khadi, the Prime Minister said the turnover of Khadi and village industries has crossed 1 lakh crore rupees, and Khadi sales have increased 4 times in the last 8 years. During the event, Mr. Modi launched the Raising and Accelerating MSME Performance (RAMP) scheme, capacity building of first-time MSME exporter scheme, and new features of the Prime Minister's Employment Generation Programme (PMEGP). Index of 8 crore industries (ICI) in India posted robust growth of 18.1% in May this year against 16.4% in the corresponding month of previous year. According to the Commerce and Industry Ministry data released on Thursday, the growth can be attributed to increased production in cement, coal, fertilizers and electricity industries over the same period of last fiscal. In April this year, 8 crore sectors lodged growth of 8.4%.
The Government of India has taken various initiatives to streamline Amarnathyatra for the devotees. Amarnathyatra has commenced from Thursday and will conclude on the 11th of August. All India Radio Srinagar has started the Amarnathyatra special broadcast from Baltal Base Camp from Thursday. AIR established an FM transmission facility and studio facility in Baltal, where daily broadcast for Yatra will be aired for 16 hours from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. This broadcast will be available for the Yatris on News on AIR app of AIR, wherein a special platform for the Amarnathyatra broadcast has been created. The broadcast on this app will be available globally. It is available on FM 103.7 MHz and on DTH also, where it is available on AIR Urdu service. This daily broadcast will be available till the Raksha Bandhan day. Field reports from Yatra from Jammu up to Amarnath Shrine on Baltal and Pahalgam routes are being broadcast for latest updates to the pilgrims. Hourly weather updates and other requisite advisories and guidelines are being put on air at regular intervals throughout the transmission. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a special program on Sri Amarnath Ji Yatra, a spiritual journey.
For thousands of years, Lord Shiva is revered mostly in all religions. There are countless qualities of Shiva that simply can't be described or put into words.
The annual The first batch of Amarnath Yatris was flagged off from Yatri Nivas Bhavan in Jammu by Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. More than 3,000 pilgrims left for the Kashmir Valley in the wee hours today. The Yatra is taking place after a gap of 2 years. The Yatra couldn't be conducted due to COVID pandemic for the last 2 years. The Jammu and Kashmir administration is expecting a record number of Yatris this year.
The pilgrimage started amidst the chants of Bam Bam Bhole and Har Har Mahadev. The first batch of Sri Amarnath Ji's Yatris has left for the Kashmir Valley from Jammu.
The chant of Har Har Mahadev is a chant related to Lord Shiva. Har in Sanskrit means take away or destruction. Mahadev means Lord Shiva. So the chant Har Har Mahadev, the meaning is elimination of all distress, sorrows and obstacles of the devotees by Lord Shiva.
There is another meaning of the chant Har Har Mahadev. In this, the word Har means everyone. And so the meaning of the chant is everyone is Mahadev Shiva.
Rich or poor, all can take God's name through this chant. The chant is found in the ancient Veda, the Rig Veda. The chant has different meanings. In times of sorrow or suffering, the devotees can chant Har Har Mahadev to help them overcome their sufferings. You need not do any rituals or pujas to please him. Anybody can get a boon from him by praying with all their hearts. Lakhs of pilgrims undertake the Amarnathyatra during the Shravani Mela, which is held in the months of Shravan between July and August.
Chalo Amarnath, chalo Amarnath, chalo Amarnath bhai. Chalo Amarnath mein mit jati hai karam ki kathinaai.
Lord Shiva is called the Lord of divine energy, meditation, destruction, time, yoga and art. He is also called God of gods and the greatest god. Lord Shiva is also called the destroyer. Worshipping
among all gods. He creates, protects and transforms the entire universe with his powers. Chanting the Mahamrityunjay mantra is one of the most powerful ways of getting connected with the divine. It is believed that mantras have spiritual and psychological powers that will help in bringing peace and harmony in life. As per Shiv Puran, people fearing any unexpected incident like death must chant this mantra. It will help a lot to overcome the fear, the great death-conquering mantra.
Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Umarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityormukshiyamamritat
According to a legend, when Lord Shiva decided to tell Parvati the secret of his immortality, Amarnathyatra, he chose the Amarnath cave deep in the Himalayas in South Kashmir. The cave is situated 3,888 meters above sea level and can be reached only on foot or by pony. Pilgrims travel 46 kilometers from Pahalgam or 16 kilometers from Baltal along a steep, winding mountain trail.
Jai ho Shankara, Adidev Shankara.
According to lore, the cave was rediscovered by a Muslim shepherd named Bhuta Malik in 1850. Malik was high up in the mountains with his herd of sheep when a Sufi saint gave him a bag full of coal. After he returned home, Malik opened the bag and found it to be full of gold. The ecstatic and overwhelmed shepherd ran to the mountains to thank the saint, but he could not find him. What he found instead was the cave and its famous ice lingam.
The ice lingam, representing Lord Shiva, is formed by a trickle of water from the cleft in the roof of the cave. The water freezes as it drips, forming over time a tall, smooth, icy stalagmite. The Shiva lingam gets its full shape in May every year, after which it begins to melt. By August, it is just a few feet in height. On the left of the Shiva lingam are two smaller ice stalagmites. representing Parvati and Lord Ganesha.
Shri Amarnathyatra 2022 commenced simultaneously from both the routes, the Pahalgam track in Anantnag district and the Baltal in Ganderbal district. The board has also decided to put in place a daily route-wise pilgrim ceiling of 10,000, excluding yatris who would travel by helicopter. The board has also decided to extend the free-of-cost battery car service for yatris at 2.75 km long Baltal to Domel stretch.
For offline registration of Amarnathyatra, you need to visit the designated banks along with the necessary documents such as compulsory health certificate, CHC, original identity proof and photographs. The essential documents you will need during the yatra include voter ID, driving license, passport, etc. for your identity.
In an effort to prevent any terrorist attacks, authorities have implemented a 5-tier security arrangement using drones and radio frequency identification (RFID) to track every pilgrim entering the region. Shri Amarnath Shrine Board Chairman and former Governor N.N. Vora said,
जय बाबा बर्फानी। सभी यात्रियों को ये सुखद सूचना हमें देते हुए बड़ा हर्ष हो रहा है कि इस बार हम लोग यात्रा की तैयारी बड़े जोर शोर से कर रहे हैं और अच्छी बात यह है कि जिस हिसाब से इस बार रजिस्ट्रेशन चल रहा है तो हमें उम्मीद है कि बाबा की कृपा काफी सारे लोगों पे होने वाली है। देखिए, इसमें अध्यात्म भी है इस यात्रा में और रोमांच भी है, मतलब स्पिरिचुअलिटी भी है और एडवेंचरिज्म भी है। तो अब जो भी यात्री आएंगे वो इन दोनों का मिश्रण उन्हें महसूस होगा। अच्छा के दृष्टिकोण से और यात्रियों के सहूलियत के दृष्टिकोण से हमने इस बार एक RFID टैग शुरू किया है जो प्रत्येक यात्री को हम देंगे। यात्री चाहे सड़क से आए, चाहे वायु मार्ग से आए या रेल से आए, हम जहां भी वो फर्स्ट एंट्री होगी हमारे यूटी में, उसको हम वहां जो रजिस्ट्रेशन है वो बताने पे हम उसको एक RFID टैग देंगे। उससे कई फायदे हैं। RFID टैग देने से एक तो यात्री को हम ट्रैक कर पाएंगे, जो भी ऑथराइज्ड लोग होंगे वो हमारी यात्रा में दिखेंगे और इसके अलावा किस सेगमेंट में कितने लोग हैं, किस रुकने की व्यवस्था में कितने लोगों को ले जाना है, किस स्ट्रेच में कितने लोग हैं, कितने लोग किस स्ट्रेच को पार किए, कौन लोग उससे पहले हैं, कौन लोग उसके बाद हैं, ये कई सारी सुविधाएं हमें मिलेंगी। दूसरी जो RFID टैग है वो जो पोनी वाले हैं, जो पिट्ठू वाले हैं, उनको भी हम जो घोड़े चलाते हैं उनको भी दे रहे हैं ताकि हमें पता रहे कि कौन सा यात्री किस RFID वाले किस पोनी पे बैठा है, ताकि हमें कोई और जानकारी या कोई और दृष्टिकोण से कोई सूचना हमें इकट्ठी करनी है तो हम आसानी से कर पाएंगे। यात्रियों का जो इंश्योरेंस है वो भी हमने बढ़ा के 3 लाख से 5 लाख रुपए किया है और पहले जो पोनी जो घोड़े वाले होते थे उनका जो घोड़ा था वो इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 3 महीने के लिए होता था। इस बार हमने पूरे साल के लिए किया है और एक्सीडेंटल हो या नेचुरल डेथ हो, नेचुरल डेथ इस बार हमने जोड़ा है तो दोनों परिस्थितियों में हम उन्हें 50,000 रुपया इंश्योरेंस देंगे।
The 2-month-long yatra will culminate on Savan Purnima, coinciding with Raksha Bandhan on the 26th of August 2022.
Review, the Jammu and Kashmir administration has issued the do's and don'ts for the pilgrims for the Amarnathyatra. The yatris have been asked to carry sufficient woolen clothing as the temperatures may sometimes fall below 5 degrees Celsius.
We wish you all a blessed and safe yatra.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO has successfully launched 3 Singaporean satellites this evening from the spaceport at Sriharikota. The commercial launch was performed using the workhorse rocket PSLV C-53 that lifted off carrying the 3 main payloads.
अभी कुछ ही क्षणों में हम साक्षी बनेंगे न्यूसार तथा स्कूप 1 उपग्रह के अंतःक्षेपण के।
न्यूसार सैटेलाइट सेपरेटेड, स्कूप 1 सैटेलाइट सेपरेटेड, PSLV C-53 DSEO mission accomplished. Handing over to mission director.
PSLV C-53 has successfully injected DSEO primary satellites and 2 other satellites into the desired orbit. PSLV C-53 DSEO mission is fully accomplished.
With this, the recently formed commercial arm of the Department of Space, known as the New Space India Limited, has successfully completed 2 launches. The first being the launch of GSAT-24 communication satellite on board the Aravane 5 rocket from French Guiana. Isro Chairman S. Somnath remarked that this mission has reached its objective with textbook precision.
So with this today's mission, all these 3 satellites are placed in the right orbit, and I hope that the further activities of the satellites will be taken up and the mission will be a complete success for our customers. And I wish all the very best to NSIL for major missions to take up in the coming days using PSLV. And PSLV is waiting for that to happen. Many more missions are on the way for the customers all across the globe to come and get successfully placed in orbit.
More from our correspondent.
The Thursday's mission has validated the viability of ISRO's proposal to use the 4th and last stage of the rocket engine further in space. In that way, this mission has made a milestone in itself. It is also a good beginning for the Department of Space's regulatory body called the InSpace that gave its maiden approval for the 2 private space startups to carry their payloads to space. The Thursday's mission has served its commercial objectives and also led to take forward ISRO's innovative approaches in exploring space technology. With Jay Singh's report, Anuja Kumar for World News, AIR.
Monsoon session of the Indian Parliament is scheduled to begin from 18th of July and continue till 12th of August. Lok Sabha Secretariat said this in a release. Presidential polls will be held on the 18th of July, while the counting of votes will be taken up on 21st of July.
Shiv Sena rebel leader Eknath Shinde was on Thursday sworn in as the new Chief Minister of the Indian state of Maharashtra. Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari administered the oath of office to Mr. Shinde. He has become the 20th Chief Minister of the state. Besides Mr. Shinde, BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis was sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister. President Vladimir Putin has said that Russia would respond in kind if NATO deployed troops and infrastructure in Finland and Sweden after they joined the US-led military alliance. He was speaking to Russian state television after talks with regional leaders in the Central Asian ex-Soviet state of Turkmenistan. Mr. Putin said with Sweden and Finland, Russia doesn't have the problems that it has with Ukraine. He said if Sweden and Finland want to join NATO, they can go ahead. But it was inevitable that Moscow's relations with Helsinki and Stockholm would sour over their NATO membership.
Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has been sworn in as the President of Philippines in Manila on Thursday. He succeeded the outgoing President Rodrigo Duterte. The 64-year-old leader is inheriting a country still on the road to recovery from a years-long pandemic and an economic outlook clouded by skyrocketing inflation and rising debt. In his first speech as president, Mr. Ferdinand described his success as the biggest electorate mandate in the history of Philippine democracy. Sara Duterte, the daughter of the outgoing president, was sworn in as vice president. In badminton, PV Sindhu and HS Pranoy stormed into the quarterfinals of Malaysia Open in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. Sindhu beat Thailand's Pityaporn Chaiwan by 19-21, 21-9, 21-14 in the second round clash. Sindhu will next clash with Taiwanese Tai Zhu Ying in the quarterfinals. Continuing his dream run, HS Pranoy defeated world number 1 Cho Tien-shen of Chinese Taipei by 21-15, 21-7 in the men's singles. Pranoy will now play Jonathan Christie of Indonesia for a place in the semis. In cricket, India will take on England in the rescheduled 5th Test match at Edgbaston, Birmingham on Friday. The match will begin at 3 p.m. India lead the Test series against England by 2-1. Jasprit Bumrah is all set to become the first baseman to lead India in Test cricket since Kapil Dev. Rohit Sharma has been ruled out of the Edgbaston Test against England after testing positive for COVID-19. In Wimbledon tennis, the match between Rafael Nadal and Lithuania's Ricardas Berankis in round 2 of men's singles is underway. The 36-year-old Spaniard is aiming to claim his first Wimbledon title since 2010. He has already clinched the Australian and French Open crowns this season.
Now let's take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. First, we have a look at the press reports on China. CNN reports journalists from leading international media organizations including Reuters and CNN have been barred from covering official ceremonies during Chinese leader Xi Jinping's visit to Hong Kong later this week. AP reports NATO has for the first time singled out China as one of its strategic priorities for the next decade, warning about its growing military ambitions, confrontational rhetoric towards Taiwan and other neighbors, and increasingly close ties to Russia. Prasar Bharati Beijing reports India's ambassador to China, Pradeep Kumar Rawat, has said that India, since its accession to Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO), has actively participated and has provided substantial support to various mechanisms across diverse domains in the forum. Now let's have a look at the press reports on Nepal. My Republica reports that the main opposition party, the CPN-UML, has demanded the resignation of Gandaki Province Chief Minister CM Krishna Chandra Nepali Pokhral. The Kathmandu Post reports that the World Bank approved $1.03 billion of financing to help improve regional trade in Nepal and Bangladesh by reducing trade and transport costs and transit time along the regional corridors on Wednesday.
Now let's have a look at the press reports from Balochistan. The Balochistan Post reports that Pakistani military forces have been targeted in 4 different attacks in parts of Balochistan within the span of 24 hours. The Balochistan Post writes that the Balochistan Liberation Front BLF has claimed responsibility for the killing of 4 Pakistani army personnel in Zamran Nahang Tank area of Kech district. Now let's have a look at the press reports from Pakistan. Radio Pakistan report says that British High Commissioner Christian Turner met with Minister of State for Foreign Minister Hina Rabbani Khar in Islamabad on Wednesday. During the meeting, they agreed to enhance cooperation in bilateral trade and investment. And now let's have a look at the press reports from Afghanistan. Gandhara reports that the European Union Special Envoy for Afghanistan says girls' access to secondary education has been on the agenda in the recent talks he has had with the members of the Taliban-led government, but they have not explained why girls have been excluded or indicated when schools might reopen for girls.
A quick look at the headlines once again. India bans single-use plastic items from 1st of July. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is making necessary policy changes to encourage MSME sector in India. India's 8 core industries post robust growth of 18.1% in May this year. Isro successfully launches PSLV C-53 rocket carrying 3 Singaporean satellites from Satish Dhawan Space Centre at Sriharikota. Monsoon session of Indian Parliament to begin from the 18th of July. President Vladimir Putin says Russia will respond to NATO if NATO sets up troops and infrastructure in Finland and Sweden. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sworn in as next president of Philippines. All India Radio Srinagar begins Amarnathyatra special broadcast from Baltal Base Camp. In badminton, PV Sindhu and HS Pranoy stormed to quarterfinals of the Malaysian Open at Kuala Lumpur. And in cricket, India to take on England in rescheduled 5th Test match at Edgbaston in Birmingham on Friday. And now, before we end, let's listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from the Philippines. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.